Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a man walking through a vast, empty desert. The sun blazes above, his footsteps sink into shifting sands, and he carries only himself. He is not pursued, nor is he lost, but he is alone. His aloneness is not born of circumstance, it is a chosen solitude. He tells himself this is freedom. Yet the more he walks, the more his shadow becomes his only companion, and the freedom he clings to feels strangely like a prison. Friendship is a peculiar and extraordinary bond. Unlike familial relationships, which we are born into, or romantic love, which often comes with an intensity that demands exclusivity, friendship stands as a relationship of choice. It is deliberate, yet it feels effortless when genuine. It is the one bond that seems to ask for nothing, but offers everything in return. The uniqueness of friendship lies in its ability to transcend circumstance. Friends are not bound by obligation or necessity, but by mutual affection and shared values. They are companions of the soul rather than of duty. True friendship is not forged in the fires of need, but in the quiet, joyful discovery of kindred spirits. To be without friendship is to miss out on one of the richest treasures life offers. For while romantic love often seeks to bind two souls into one, friendship expands the soul, enlarging its capacity for joy, understanding, and wisdom. It is a connection that sharpens the mind, comforts the heart, and strengthens the spirit. The depth and breadth, the natural waveliness, whatever the meaning, the things we suffer and strive for, shadows the vast world. A friend is someone who knows us as we are, and yet loves us enough to see who we could be. In their presence, we are both fully accepted and gently challenged. They offer a mirror for our souls, showing us both our strengths and our flaws, not with the aim of tearing us down, but with the hope of building us up. Friendship transforms our experiences. A triumph shared with a friend feels richer and more complete. A sorrow born with a friend feels lighter and more bearable. In friendship, we find not just a partner for the good times, but a refuge in the storms of life. Even in its silences, friendship speaks volumes. The most profound moments between friends often occur without words, a shared gaze that acknowledges understanding, a comforting presence in times of grief, or the quiet reassurance of being together in the same space. To dismiss the importance of friendship is to underestimate the human soul's need for connection. For just as no tree can thrive in isolation, no man can flourish without companionship. Friendship is the bridge that connects us to others, teaching us to love, to trust, and to grow. It reminds us that while we are individuals, we are not meant to journey through life alone. Thus, friendship is not merely a pleasant addition to life, it is a necessity. It is one of the ways life reveals its deepest truths, its most profound joys, and its sweetest rewards. To embrace friendship is to embrace life itself. A man without friends often does not recognize the slow, silent grip of isolation. It does not announce itself loudly or arrive with dramatic effect. Instead, it seeps into his life gradually, like water trickling through unseen cracks, eroding the foundation of his well-being. At first, it may feel like independence, like freedom from obligation, or the distractions of others. But over time, this isolation reveals its true nature, stripping away not just external connections, but internal strength as well. The heart of isolation's danger is that it blinds a man to his own needs. It whispers the deductive lie that solitude is safer than vulnerability, that he needs no one and can rely solely on himself. The absence of friends becomes an echo chamber, where his thoughts go unchallenged, his perspectives remain narrow, and his understanding of the world stagnates. Without the counterbalance of other voices, he risks losing sight of who he truly is. There is a quiet tragedy in the life of a man who walks alone. He has no one to share his victories with, no one to remind him that his efforts matter. His joys are fleeting, his accomplishments uncelebrated. On the darker days, his burdens grow heavier because there is no one to help carry them. The absence of companionship turns every hardship into an isolating ordeal, every trial into a private torment. It is not that such a man does not feel the sting of loneliness. He feels it deeply, though he may suppress it, distract himself from it, or convince himself it is a sign of strength. But loneliness is not strength. It is a wound, one that festers in silence. It eats away at the joy of living, reducing life to a series of tasks rather than a shared journey. And isolation also breeds fear. Without friends to bolster his confidence, a man may become more hesitant to take risks or to step into the unknown. Friendship provides the safety net that allows us to stretch beyond our comfort zones, to grow, and to embrace the fullness of life. Without it, the world seems colder, the stakes higher, and the rewards less attainable. Yet the most insidious aspect of isolation is how easily it becomes self-perpetuating. The longer a man goes without friends, the more difficult it becomes to reach out, to trust, and to let others in. He builds walls around himself, not out of malice but out of self-preservation, until those walls become a fortress he cannot escape. Instead of resting in peace, he discovers that his mind is moving far too fast, and to live in such isolation is to live only half a life. Human beings are created for connection, for the mutual exchange of ideas, emotions, and support. We are not merely individuals wandering separate paths. We are part of a larger whole, designed to walk alongside others. For the man without friends, the way out of isolation may feel daunting, but it is not impossible. The first step is to recognize that his solitude is not freedom, but a prison. With courage, he can begin to tear down the walls, to open himself to the possibility of friendship, and to rediscover the joy and meaning that comes from truly connecting with others. There is a persistent notion in the world today that independence is the highest form of strength. It suggests that the man who needs no one, who stands alone, is the most powerful, the most free. This belief has an alluring simplicity. It promises self-sufficiency, control, and immunity from the disappointments that inevitably come with relationships. Yet, at its core, this idea is a falsehood, a mirage that, when pursued, leaves a man more vulnerable and impoverished than he might ever admit. To reject the need for others is to misunderstand the very fabric of human existence. From the moment we are born, we are dependent on parents for nurture, on teachers for knowledge, on society for stability. As we grow, we learn to carry more of life's weight on our own shoulders, and this growth is good. But maturity is not the abandonment of connection. It is the deepening of it. True independence is not the absence of relationships, but the ability to engage in them freely without losing oneself. The man who embraces this distorted version of independence often cloaks it in virtues like resilience or self-reliance. He convinces himself that he is better off without the complications of friendship, that he can face life's challenges alone. But in this pursuit of self-sufficiency, he isolates himself from the very sources of strength that make resilience possible. For what is independence without perspective, without the insight that comes from seeing the world through another's eyes? A man who isolates himself becomes trapped within the limits of his own understanding. He risks growing rigid, unable to adapt, because there is no one to challenge his thinking, to offer new ideas, or to help him see the world anew. What is independence without support? Even the strongest among us have moments of weakness, days when the burdens of life feel unbearable. In those moments, the man who has chosen solitude finds himself without a hand to steady him, without a voice to remind him of his worth, without a friend to walk beside him. True strength is not found in facing life alone, but in knowing when to lean on others and when to offer them your strength in return. And what is independence without joy? Many of life's greatest moments are made richer by sharing them. A triumph celebrated in solitude feels hollow. A sunset admired alone fades too quickly. Friendship multiplies joy, transforming fleeting pleasures into lasting memories. Without it, life's beauty is dulled, its colors less vivid. Let us come together again. The false allure of independence is that it promises freedom while delivering loneliness. It claims to shield a man from pain, yet it exposes him to a deeper, more insidious suffering, the slow erosion of connection, of purpose, and of meaning. The truth is that we are made for relationships. To deny this is to deny a part of our humanity. A man does not diminish his strength by seeking friends. He enhances it. For in friendship we find not just companionship, but the courage to face life's trials, the wisdom to grow, and the joy that makes the journey worthwhile. Friendship has an extraordinary quality that sets it apart from every other relationship. It serves as a mirror for the soul. In its truest form, friendship reflects back to us who we are and, perhaps more importantly, who we might become. It is through the eyes of a friend that we often gain the clearest picture of ourselves, a picture that is both humbling and inspiring. A man left entirely to himself may think he knows his strengths and weaknesses, his virtues and faults. But self-perception is inevitably clouded by biases, fears, and blind spots. We cannot see the whole of ourselves, any more than we can see the back of our own head. Without someone to reflect back to us the truth, we remain in partial ignorance, unaware of the parts of our character that need refining, or the strengths we have yet to fully realize. True friendship does not flatter, it reveals. A genuine friend will not only celebrate your victories, but also challenge your missteps. They are unafraid to speak the hard truths that others might avoid. This is not done out of malice, but out of love, for a true friend desires your growth and your good. They see potential where you see limits, courage where you feel fear, and value where you feel inadequate. Yet this reflection is not merely about correction. A friend also holds up a mirror to your virtues and joys. They remind you of the qualities you may take for granted, the kindness you extend, the wisdom you offer, the strength you carry. In moments of doubt, a friend becomes a voice of reassurance, showing you the best parts of yourself that you may have forgotten. The mirror of friendship is not static. It grows and shifts as the friendship deepens. Through shared experiences, laughter, and even disagreements, friends come to know one another in ways that surface-level acquaintances never could. They see the person behind the masks we often wear in the world, the person we are when no one else is watching, the person we are when no one else is watching. And yet, this reflection is never one-sided. Friendship is mutual. It is a relationship of give and take. As your friend reflects your soul, you reflect theirs. You hold up a mirror to one another, sharpening each other's character, deepening each other's understanding, and brightening each other's lives. It is in this mutual reflection that friendship's transformative power is fully realized. In a world where so many relationships are transactional, based on what can be gained or lost, friendship stands as something purer. Its purpose is not utility but truth. It helps us to see ourselves not as we wish to be seen, but as we truly are, while also encouraging us to become the best version of ourselves. Without this mirror, a man's vision of himself is incomplete. He is left wandering, unsure of his path or his purpose, but with it he gains clarity, direction, and the joy of knowing that he is both known and loved. For in friendship we find not only a reflection of ourselves, but also a glimpse of what it means to live fully and authentically. For the man who has no friends, the path to connection may seem daunting, even impossible. The longer one has lived in solitude, the higher the walls of isolation feel, and the more unnatural it seems to reach out. Yet, the journey toward friendship is not as unreachable as it may appear. The first step lies in a shift of perspective, from seeking to be understood to seeking to understand, from waiting to be loved to choosing to love. Friendship begins not with grand gestures, but with small acts of openness and kindness. It is found in the quiet moments when we extend ourselves toward another, not because we expect something in return, but because we see their humanity, their need, and their worth. It might be as simple as a shared smile, a word of encouragement, or a listening ear. These gestures are seeds, and like all seeds, they need time and care to grow. The man without friends may hesitate, thinking, "What if my efforts are rejected?" This fear is natural, for vulnerability always carries risk, but it is precisely in this willingness to risk that friendship finds its foundation. To offer one's self, even imperfectly, is to create the possibility of connection. It is a declaration that says, "I am here, and I am willing to walk alongside you." Friendship also requires humility. It is not about seeking people who will serve our needs or affirm our egos, but about finding those with whom we can share life's journey as equals. True friends do not measure worth by accomplishments, wealth, or status. They value the essence of who you are. To approach others with humility is to recognize that everyone, no matter how confident they appear, carries burdens, questions, and insecurities. Footnote, Saga Temo. At one point, I saw it is to say, "Let me see you, and let me be seen in return." Building friendships is a process, not an event. It involves patience, effort, and consistency. It grows through shared experiences, moments of laughter, challenges faced together, and even conflicts that are resolved with understanding. These experiences create the bonds that transform acquaintances into companions, and companions into true friends. One of the most profound truths about friendship is that it thrives on mutual giving. To have friends, one must be a friend. This means showing up, not just in times of joy, but in moments of difficulty. It means offering support when needed, and asking for it when we are in need. Friendship is not a one-sided transaction. It is a partnership, a dance of giving and receiving. For the man who longs for connection but feels unworthy of it, remember this: friendship does not demand perfection. It asks only for authenticity. To be yourself, with all your flaws and gifts, is the greatest offering you can make. The path to connection is not without its challenges, but the rewards far outweigh the risks. Friendship enriches life, multiplies joy, and multiplies sorrow. It reminds us that we are not alone, that we are seen, and that we are valued. It is a journey worth taking, step by step, moment by moment, toward the beauty of shared humanity.